Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.
Hello, everybody. Brian Engelman here. And I am pleased to be joined with Abby Martin. Abby, hello and welcome. I would cheers you, except sadly, I have not gotten myself a Heineken or anything yet. But some change and some hope, right?
Yeah, that worked out really well.
It did. Should we try it again? The third time? Abby, I want to say this because I'm relatively new to Russia today. Maybe in the past couple of years, it's hit my radar a couple of times, and now more and more often. I'm unfamiliar with the network, and I know, how long have you been there?
2.5 years.
2.5 years, okay. Because I had this theory, and I started seeing more stories that resonated with me on Al Jazeera, and I said, okay, I get it. If Russia and Al Jazeera don't like the U.S., they're actually going to show us the dirty parts and the disgusting things going on in our politics. Can you talk about what RT is as a company? Am I on base or off base with this? Because I'm just really not familiar with it.
Sure, RT is run in the exact same way that BBC and Al Jazeera are. So respectively, it's paid with tax-funded payer grants in those respective countries, Qatar, Britain. What RT is the same reason that those networks exist, which is to provide a foreign policy perspective of those respective countries. The problem with BBC and Al Jazeera is that they're way more towing the establishment line. BBC might as well be state-run from the U.S. I mean, they're partners in crime. Al Jazeera, it has become way more mainstream over the years. But if you look at what Al Jazeera was covering during the Iraq War, the U.S. government was calling them a terrorist network. So it's really amazing to see kind of this vitriol against RT now because of this Cold War resurrection and the fervor against Russia. But it's really the same exact thing, and it's providing the foreign policy perspective of Russia, which is something that us in the West do not hear, and we need to hear it. Hands down. I mean, this is a crucial perspective that people need to know about. I mean, people don't think, we think in terms of American exceptionalism, this view that America's the best and we have the moral authority to go and impose our views on the rest of the world. And so I'm grateful to work for a company that A, gives me journalistic freedom. I feel like I have integrity on there where I can talk about corporations because there's no corporate sponsorship, and also just tell the truth about my own government. And when people talk about RT and say, oh, it's propaganda, and I'm like, well, I think the question should be, why do I have to work for RT to tell the truth about what's going on in my own country? That's the question we should be asking. It really shows the abysmal state of media in the U.S.
Well, and that's why I started The New American Media 3 years ago. We had our birthday this week. And thank you very much. It's literally my birthday today. Nice. That's another side topic. I'll cheers with a Heineken later. Can someone give me a Heineken already? Anyway, no, but that's why I founded my organization, The New American Media, because we are propaganda for liberty. Yeah, I've seen a meme floating around on Facebook. It says, libertarians plotting to take over the world and leave you alone. Like, that is my agenda. My propaganda is liberty. What do you see when you have meetings with the producers at RT? Does it feel like an American company? Does it feel like a Russian company? And actually, what is your background? Where were you born and raised? Because I'm just so curious about it.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Bay Area of California, and I work with all really passionate young American journalists who come to RT for the same reason that I'm there, because they want to tell the truth. They're really passionate about the issues of the corporate monopoly over everything, the media control, the censorship going on. I do meetings with all Americans. My boss is Russian, and that's pretty much the only Russian that we deal with on a daily basis. So, yeah.
Oh, real quick, before I forget, can you say hi to Damian Hall?
Hi, Damian Hall.
Damian is my buddy that said, you got to check out Abby Martin. And so I've been watching more and more of it lately, and I am enjoying it. I'm wondering, how crazy is it in the world where we think America's good? Let's just say a lot of people in this country think America's good and the rest of the world's maybe not as good, let's just say. How crazy it is that in this world, we got to go to RT for real news about current events, and Edward Snowden has to go to Russia to save his ass for defending the Constitution. I feel like I've stepped through a time warp in, like, what's up is down, what's black is white. It's a Superman Bizarro world.
Yeah, and Laura Poitras, who released the documents, is hiding out in Berlin. It's like, if we look back at World War II, those were the states that everyone was saying, you know, don't trust them, and that's where journalists are going to hide out. I mean, it's a really sad state of affairs. It really is. And really, I mean, you just hit the nail on the head. Why is it that Edward Snowden has to go seek asylum in Russia? Why is it that we have to go to RT to learn the truth? It really just shows you how fucked up it is here.
So he's not a traitor?
No, fuck no. He's a hero. He's a hero. Edward Snowden is a hero.
God, if I had my Heineken, I would cheers you and pour a little out for my homie that can't be here. Oh, will someone give me a Heineken? No, so, I mean, we're here at the Free and Equal Fest, the United We Stand Fest, Free and Equal. Why do you think it's important to get such diverse groups of people? I mean, there's a lot of different personalities here, but I think a lot of us have enough of an overlap where we're at least on the same page enough where we need to make these connections and try to break bread with people that maybe we thought, oh, I don't like them. Well, why? I don't know, because my preferred news outlet, I saw them do a hit piece on them once. Why do you think things like this are important, Abby?
Exactly what you just said. There's a monopoly, there's a two-party dictatorship in this country, and it needs to be broken. And I think all of us here, even though we might be on the left side or the very right side, libertarian, socialists, all of us can agree that we want to break the stranglehold over the American electoral system and the political system in general. And just the dialogue. We need to start undermining this conventional wisdom that we're great, that America can do no wrong, because as we all know clearly, Bill of Rights has been eviscerated. I mean, we have very little freedom. Cecily McMillan's a perfect example. This girl goes out at an Occupy protest, a policeman grabs her breast, and she's facing 7 years in jail for assault.
For being grabbed.
We're living in a two-tier justice system. Like, that's straight up what we're living in, and it's crazy because everyone, no one trusts Russia, but everyone trusts this country, and that's the problem, is that when people think that they're living in a democracy, it's that much harder to combat that narrative and be like, we're actually not, we're living in an oligopoly. And we need to start combating all these things that are fake.
Hold on, oligopoly. I'm familiar with oligarchy. Are you combining monopoly with oligarchy? Okay, just making sure. My state education, I was just making sure I had that one right.
Yeah, no, but this event is amazing. We need more of these events. We need to unite all of these fronts, because we can all agree that we do not want military aggression around the world. We can all agree that we want to scale back the 980 military bases. A general from U.S. AFRICOM just told a room full of military contractors the U.S. is at war with Africa. I didn't fucking get the memo. I mean, what is going on here? In our name, we're sponsoring this with our tax dollars. Sorry, I get really upset because it's just unbelievable.
I mean, the march into the war drums to get into Syria. Oh, gotta go get them. They use chemical weapons. What about the bullets and bombs? I don't care. Oh, it's a chemical weapon. We gotta stop them. Really, John Kerry? Really, Barack Obama?
Yeah,
You're kidding me.
And also fucking allying with Al Qaeda in Syria. But meanwhile, we're launching a global war on terror to fight Al Qaeda. So really, you have to look through these things and realize, okay, why is Syria a peg on the globalists or whatever? Why do they?
Why is it so important?
Why is it so important? Because it's a non-puppet state, and I don't mean that it's free and open. I mean that the U.S. hegemony has not had imperialist domination over the country yet and stolen its resources and imposed central banking. That's the truth. That's the truth. Cuba, as we know, they were instilling a fake Twitter in Cuba to try to overthrow the Cuban government. Why do we care about Cuba? Let them live in peace, for God's sake. I mean, so you kind of have to look through the surface, and once you see what's really going on, how could we not unite on that and say, we don't want this?
Right.
We can all talk about what kind of system we want, but all we know is that we don't want this in our name. Right. And that's the first step.
Well, we see more and more documents coming out, more released emails. The Benghazi thing seems to be unraveling. What are your thoughts on the whole scenario? Because for me, all right, fine, maybe we were incompetent. Maybe we ignored the cables. Maybe we should have increased security instead of decreased security. Aside from the fact, should we have been there in the first place? But for me, why wasn't help sent immediately? Because, I've had a lot of family and friends that have served in the service. Why didn't they immediately send in for help? What are your thoughts on Benghazi as this whole thing starts to unravel? Because some are trying to turn it to a Democrat-Republican thing. I'm like, regardless of policy, those are your brothers and sisters and cousins that were out there, hung out to dry. Just what are your thoughts on the thing in general as we talk Syria and Libya and all of Africa in general?
I mean, to tell you the truth, I think Benghazi is a total distraction. I agree it was a horrible tragedy, and what's amazing is you keep hearing about this consulate that was there when in reality it was like a CIA black site base. It was like black bagging people for rendition in that area. That's why we were in Benghazi, to tell you the truth. But this whole thing, you have the establishment Republicans talking about how, Benghazi, he didn't call it a terrorist attack immediately. It's just this obsession over it. I just think it's one of many distractions. Of course, it's a serious issue, like you just pointed out, but I don't think it needs to be hammered down on Fox News every day as this huge scandal.
Yeah, the talking points, I could care less about that. Why wasn't help sent immediately? Sure. Because for me, they were setting him up, they wanted him dead, or it was a hostage deal gone wrong. I can't prove any of that stuff, but I'm digging, and it just seems to smell really rancid right now. So I guess moving forward, what do you think the most important thing for people to realize is regarding elections as they focus back on this event again? If we want to change the policies, we got to change the people, but is it even possible in the system that we have to get the money to compete to get into their private club that's rigged against any dissenting opinion anyway?
Listen, the game's obviously rigged, that's no doubt. But if we didn't try, then we'd be defeating ourselves. I'm like all for only voting third party no matter what. If there's someone who's like running as a Democrat who I trust, the thing is these people are all strangers. We know that they're all backed by giant corporations. Whether you're on the Democrat or Republican side, they all have total continuity with foreign policy. We need to completely eliminate any support for these people, 100%. Tune them out. Also, we need to undermine the corporate media by tuning it out too and turning to alternative media like what you're doing, RT, my show Breaking the Set, and just continue to support third-party voices, continue to support alternative media, and we need to start building a movement within and outside. Because you're right, within the system that we have right now, there's absolutely no room for change, but if we can start supporting these voices and getting our message out, hopefully we can build that alternative that is so desperately needed so we can save this country from itself.
And final question then, with Crimea, with everything that Russia's doing, ramping up military, it's very complex, obviously. How are you covering that at RT? Are you getting any notes from producers saying, well, maybe go this angle, not that?
You didn't follow the fallout when I spoke out?
Like I said, Damian Hall, you've introduced me to Abby Martin. I'm catching up on your work, my dear.
So I did make an on-air statement against Russia, and it caused international fervor. I was hailed as some anti-Russian hero, but then once I got the platform on Piers Morgan and NPR and stuff, I said, look, I'm not speaking out against Russia, I'm speaking out against military aggression. And then I've used that to basically call out the corporate media in the US. But I do not get memos. Putin doesn't give us a roundtable discussion every morning, riding in on his horse, shirtless. It's completely insane.
Wrestling alligators, rappelling from helicopters like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
Listen, I think everyone in the media every media establishment that's funded by questionable entities deals with self-censorship. That's just the way the apparatus is structured.
You can't bite the hand that feeds you.
Can't bite the hand, but I did, and look, I'm still there. And Peter Arnett and a lot of other people in the corporate media can't say the same thing, and once they criticize the Iraq War. So I think it says a lot about RT to at least continue to allow me to have the show that I do.
Right. Well, I also saw you on Rap News, which is, I love those guys, Hugo and man, they do some fantastic work. Just real quick, what's your experience working with them, just putting that together? How happy were you with the product?
Oh man, I love them so much. When I was doing MediaRoots.org, my citizen journalism project, I actually found them about 4 years ago and did this really in-depth interview with them because I just love what they're doing. And that's what we need. We need alternatives that are doing things in a creative way, a different way to get the news out. And I think Rap News is one of the best news sources that's doing it in a fun, creative way that can get people to listen and pay attention that would not normally watch something that you or I do.
Yeah, they have Big Brother is Watching. It's one of my favorites of all time. And I did catch your interview with Immortal Technique the other day. And he is one of the most articulate voices out there. And it's like it takes musicians, politicians, media people, average couch potatoes, maybe sports fans, whatever the case may be. All of us need to kind of articulate this in our own way, and I think it's important. So I guess maybe just tell people where they can stay connected with you. Are you more just check out your site, or do you do a lot of stuff on Facebook and Twitter as well, or have a separate homepage? Where should they stay tuned?
MediaRoots.org, I compile all the things that I've done on RT on my citizen journalism site, and then I have AbbyMartin.org, which is my art site, and then just find me on Twitter at Abby Martin and look at Breaking the Set on YouTube for all our shit.
Excellent. Well, Abby, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.